Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and this episode is brought to you by our Patreon. If you enjoy the show and want to support, the link is in the description. But this week we have 4 monster playoff games that will decide who is playing in the conference championships for both the AFC and the NFC, and it's time for the playoff preview show. This is where the music, if we had music, it'd be playing right now. Patrick, we're starting off with the Texans versus the Ravens. This is C.J. Stroud coming off of his first playoff victory where he looked very good going into Baltimore, into the bank. It's supposed to be very cold. I know because I'll be there. So, Patrick, do you think that C.J. Stroud can get his second win before Lamar Jackson? How do you see this game unfolding?
Yeah, I mean, I see this as, maybe not the exciting fireworks that it may be scripted to be. I see this as a game where I think the Ravens handle business, but it may not look the best. I think it's 27-17 win for the Ravens. But here's what I think does happen for the Ravens. My bold prediction, Dalvin Cook gets in the end zone. I mean, that would be something for the Ravens that would be huge.
I do think Dalvin Cook gets in the end zone as well. I mean, it's a given. But if you look at this team, this matchup, it's like a 9-point spread right now. I don't love that as a Ravens fan, strictly because you're giving us too much. Like, I don't want them to be that much of an underdog. It's kind of like a disrespect to them. But then again, the last time we saw a playoff underdog with similar odds, it was the Steelers, and they never stood a chance against the Bills.
Well, that second half, though. I mean, I'll never forget that second half.
Right. Okay. So anyway, I'm also taking the Ravens. But you know what? I am going to take them big. I'm going to go 35 to 27.
So the exact same.
What'd you say?
The exact same difference. I said 27-17. So
okay, so we're kind of on the same page.
Yeah. You got more points.
Right. The over is probably hitting mine.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay, moving on to the Packers versus 49ers. Jordan Love, the love story of the playoffs. Really, I mean, I said the whole time that he was all right. Turns out he's better than all right. He's great. And he's going against a 49ers team who
was all right.
I mean, they have not been too battle-tested. You guys remember, they beat teams like the Cowboys, and everyone said, man, okay, well, they're really good then. Okay, well, turns out Cowboys maybe aren't good.
Well, don't forget about that Eagles win, though, Josh.
Right, and big Eagles win. Turns out maybe the Eagles aren't that good. And then
Josh, don't forget when they went to Jacksonville. It was a big win against the Jaguars.
Right. I don't know if the Jaguars were that good. So my thing is but then they played Baltimore. But turns out they got blown out there. So I actually don't know how good this 49ers team is. And because I'm a sucker for a story, I'm going with the Packers here. And maybe a late Jordan Love legacy drive type of ending. I'm going 24-21.
Whoa. That's big of you to take the Packers on the road. But here's the thing, Josh. Big week for football in California. Okay? Their governor decided not to sign the law to ban tackle football up until age 12. So you know what that means. You got to rally the support.
Right.
This is not just for San Francisco. This is for the state of California.
Right.
And I don't think the 49ers would ever come out and decide not to play good football on this week. I got them beating the Packers 31-24, and I think Christian McCaffrey running up on that defense of Green Bay. I think he throws for a touchdown this weekend.
Whoa, wow, bold prediction. Okay, we got the moving on. Bucks, Lions. Baker Mayfield might be a top 5 quarterback in the league right now.
Right now.
And we've been saying it all along. let bake. And he's been baking. I mean, he has been baking for sure. He's going against the Lions team, though, that feels like a team of destiny. They win their first playoff game at home, and I don't know the timeline, but it's a long time. It's been a really long time. Mm-hmm. And so this team, they're feeling like they can ball. Dan Campbell's saying to Jared Goff, hey, you're good enough for the Lions. You're good enough for the Lions. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that this is going to be a really tough game. And as much as I am a sucker for storylines, give me the Bucs and Baker Mayfield.
Wow, Josh.
And I think it's going to be like 35. No, I already went 35. I'm going to go. I think it's going to be 38 to 27.
And that was a confident score prediction, and that's what you get from this show. I mean, that was good. Well, and here's the thing, Josh. I think great minds think alike, but I'll tell you why the Lions do not win. There's a lot of bad karma coming from that fan base. Mm-hmm. You don't tell me that you had Matthew Stafford suffer in Detroit. He did not thrive. He suffered through 12 years. And you go in there and you boo him.
And by the way, they're booing the kids too. And the kids were actually wearing jackets that said Detroit born, LA raised, which is like literally a nod to the former city saying, hey, you know?
And if there's one guy that I know that corrects bad karma because he won a playoff game for the Cleveland Browns, it's Baker Mayfield.
Right.
I like the Bucs. 23-22. Rachaad White scores 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I like that. And then the game of the week. The game where everyone's saying, who's the referee crew for this?
Mm-hmm. Who is it?
They are. I mean, that's going to be a big deal. Mm-hmm. And by the way, which referee crew? Like, what do they decide? How do they officiate this game? Now we remember this game in previous years quite literally changed the rules of football because of how it ended. And then the last time these two teams went against each other, it was kind of like the beginning of the downfall of the Chiefs, because immediately anyone who didn't have a strong feeling about the Chiefs, they all hated the Chiefs because of how the Chiefs handled the loss.
But Josh, it was a really, really cool play, and the referees can't take a really cool play back. They can't do that.
And that's why I'm thinking, do we start counting, like, for instance, like George Pickens sideline catches? Like, if they're cool enough on the sideline, do we just say, hey, that counts?
And you got to think, you start throwing that, because, well, only if you play for the Chiefs. Right.
Exclusively, because we want to go, we're out to get the Chiefs.
Right. It's because the Chiefs, they bring in an international audience. We don't have to tell that. They bring in an audience, and we're not going to cover that here, but it's a plethora of people watching.
Yeah, I agree. I do believe, though, this game is going to be, I think it's not going to be as close as people think. And wow. I'm leaning, and listen, I don't think the team I'm about to say is particularly good. But wow. I think the Bills get it done, and the Chiefs look miserable. I think the Chiefs aren't prepared to not play in Arrowhead, with fans throwing snowballs at you. I think they're not prepared to catch the ball. That's not specifically for this week. That's just on any given week. And I think Josh Allen's quarterback style play lends itself to potentially this type of environment, this type of game better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting call, Josh. I can't say I agree with you, though. One of my predictions for this, actually maybe the storyline that I'm most excited to watch here, is will Tony Romo make it through this game? I mean, last week he openly rooted for Josh Allen against the Steelers. And I mean, Jim Nantz said he's jumping up and down in the booth.
Right.
well, you bring in Pat Mahomes. And so I'm not sure Tony Romo can cheat on Josh Allen like that, but you bring in Patrick Mahomes, he might get so excited. I don't know if he's going to make it through this game, Josh. But if he does make it through the game, I think the Chiefs win 30-23. And I don't think the Bills can stop Patrick Mahomes, considering they don't have any defenders left. That 3 of their starters got hurt last week. And you ask, how can the Chiefs possibly get it done? I think it's a Kadarius Toney redemption game. My bold prediction, Josh, is he actually catches 4 or more passes.
Wow. Okay, well, now what about this, Patrick? Would it change your mind at all to know that with those injuries, DeMar Hamlin might be getting reps?
No comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's our predictions. It's the playoff prediction show.
Pew, 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 pew,
Moving
pew,
on,
pew.
Jay Gruden absolutely buried RG3. And this is a story that I thought ended a couple days ago. Turns out it's still going, because when RG3, he basically he was put in a coffin and buried by Jay Gruden, when Jay Gruden was like, to summarize the whole, stuff, it was Jay Gruden came out and said, if I ever did what, these coaches in Philadelphia are doing to Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry. And then RG3 was like, say what? Yeah, you did that, okay? And then Jay Gruden, he was like, I don't know what he said to that response, but then RG3 was like, you told me you didn't know how to coach a running quarterback. Right. And then Jay Gruden said, oh, yeah, I guess our staff wasn't good enough to get you prepared. And if you remember, the staff of that Commanders, well, I don't know if it was not the Commanders at the time. Former
it wasn't the Washington football team.
It wasn't the Washington football team. But that team, they had like Sean McVay. They had Mike McDaniels. They had
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, they had Kyle Shanahan. I believe there's a fourth there that we're not seeing. But they had a lot of coaches. And so I thought that was like the nail in the coffin. I guess RG3 came out with a video. Do you know what did he summarize? What did he say?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I watched the video and I didn't take a whole lot away from it. And that's nothing against RG3.
Okay.
I just maybe I wasn't doing my job paying attention enough as a journalist.
Right. Okay. So he puts out a video. TBD, what he says probably would never. Well, we may never know.
We'll never.
But then Jay Gruden, he comes back, and I thought if RG3 was put in the coffin and buried with our staff wasn't good enough, I'm not sure what he had to, I guess, like take him out of the coffin, and then like
maybe it's like a Jesus situation. Like he rises back up.
Revived him just to put him like in a WWE ring and like fly from the top rope and just like shoulder straight into like the Adam's apple, and that's not good. Patrick, can you just give us a glimpse of what Jay Gruden said to RG3, and how did you perceive this interaction ending?
Yeah, I perceived it as, Jay Gruden basically he responds to the video and he's like, do you really want to go here, RG3? And RG3 is, RG3, what I've learned from Robert Griffin III in these last few days is he can't let anything go. And so that's on him.
Right.
But as you think about it, RG3 goes, I'm not playing any games, okay? And he knows where the bodies are buried, but Jay doesn't stop there. He does not stop there.
Right.
Neither one of these guys want this to end. I think low-key, they're just saying, hey, this is maybe they're just having some fun on a Thursday night. This is the highlight of of arguably their week, maybe their month. This might be the highlight of their year so far.
Right.
And they're having that conversation.
RG3's highlight of the year was when a GM came up and hit him and said,
that was last year.
Hey, you look like you can still play. Oh.
That was last year. Josh, is 2024 now.
Okay, so this is the highlight of the year, right?
This is probably the highlight of his year. So Jay Gruden, he then responds, tweets, "You weren't good enough. Kirk was better. Cleveland didn't want you. Baltimore did either. Quit blaming me." Now he did delete that, but screenshots exist.
Right. And he probably deleted it because of the spelling error with Baltimore did either. I think he just needs he might need to proofread like a couple times.
Yeah, right. So if we could just get him an editor, I mean that probably feels
volunteer.
Like the direction.
I'll do it for free. Jay Gruden's editor.
Hear me out, Josh. Hear me out. I think there's three guys that if we pair them in a room together. Okay.
Okay.
And you start, because it sounds like Jay Gruden's getting the marketing skills here, right? He knows how to appeal to an audience. He's making a name for himself.
Right.
You pair that with a company like the entire gym, I think that gets that product out the door.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can lean on somebody with the advisorship of a Michael Rubin,
right?
I mean, this, Josh, I see this going somewhere.
If you took those three names and put them in like a marriage, yes, that absolutely is a winning recipe. And I think that I would hand over my money to the entire gym.
I'm willing. Yeah.
Take it. So I agree. Interesting ending there. Interesting ending. Hopefully we'll see if RG3 responds. I don't know how you respond.
Well, he did. He did respond, because then Jay said, "Go race a pigeon," and then RG3 took that literally.
So here's RG3's. RG3's getting like he thinks he needs to get the last word in. He's like every single time he's trying to get the last word in, and it's getting worse and worse for him. So he should have just maybe stopped the escalation.
Not only has he tried to get the last word in, but he's done it like 7,000 different ways. He's responded to the tweet. He's quote tweeted it. He's made a whole video in response to it. I mean, he doesn't know how to stop.
Yeah. You don't. Hey, listen, you can only hope to contain it. You can't stop it.
Well, you can't. And you got to remember, Josh, if it wasn't for his big profile name, he would be a backup quarterback in this league right now.
Right. So, and I'm sure he's going to get a shot one day. I mean, Joe Flacco got a shot. He was on his couch.
And he's not in RG3's
he
not
wasn't,
on the couch.
He wasn't even watching film. Like RG3's watching film.
Every week.
Bill Belichick. He tried to trade Mac Jones. This is a rumor. The rumor is he tried to trade Mac Jones, and ownership said, we're keeping Mac Jones. Now, here is my theory on this situation. My theory was that, a lot of stuff's coming out about how when Bill Belichick said, hey, Tom can't play no more, and then they let him go and he wins the Super Bowl, Robert Kraft, I don't think, was super happy about that. So what I'm thinking is this time around, Bill Belichick's like, Mac Jones can't play no more. And Robert Kraft was like, yeah, I'm going to trust your word for it. This guy's going to go win a Super Bowl somewhere. So he said, no, we're not trading our quarterback. We're keeping him, and we're going to ride this out because he's still got a lot left in the tank. Now, unfortunately, if Tom Brady, he was at that time a 5-6 Super Bowl winning quarterback, and what he still has left in the tank might look a little different than somebody he was a Pro Bowler, so I don't know what the percentage decrease is of a Pro Bowl, like Pro Bowl alternate. Right. Like I think Robert Kraft's saying Mac Jones will be a Pro Bowl alternate in the coming future.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to mention, you got to remember, there's two things Mac Jones has in his favor. He's a national champion quarterback at Alabama, and he's already got the arrest out of the way. So he's got a clean slate from here on out, right? But spin zone, Josh, what if Bill saw this coming and he knew things weren't going to go his way in New England, that he tanked Mac Jones's reputation and experience as quarterback to maybe bring him into a situation with the Atlanta Falcons,
where he could say, hey, it wasn't me in New England. It was our quarterback. It was everything else. And then now with this
Josh,
trade rumors.
No, Josh, you bring him in because you tanked his value that you can get him for like a 7th round pick now. And you know he's still good.
Right. So he was doing like a double fake with trying to trade him. Or maybe he was trying to trade him to his next team already.
The Atlanta Falcons.
So he was trying to trade him to the Atlanta Falcons. And they saw through it. Wow. Yeah.
Maybe Robert Kraft is a smart enough guy. Maybe he's back getting those massages again. Maybe he's getting it all figured out.
Right. Patriots dynasty about to continue.
Back on.
It's back on for sure.
This is part 4.
Speaking of
part 3.
Patriots dynasty, Bill O'Brien, who was part of that dynasty for a second there, he's now the Ohio State offensive coordinator. Now, Bill O'Brien's been having this one step forward, 2 steps back kind of like career now for the last few years. It was like, okay, he was a head coach in the NFL, but then he was the offensive coordinator at Alabama. That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty solid. Yeah.
And then he was the offensive coordinator for an NFL team, the Patriots. Pretty good. Okay, we're back up a little bit. And then he became the offensive coordinator for Ohio State with Ryan Day as the head coach, who's still the head coach. For those of you who were wondering, yes, Ryan Day is still the head coach. So now the question is, it's like, what does next year and the year after that look like? What is the one step forward? Is he going to be the offensive coordinator for, I don't know, the Falcons? Could be a nice little matchup. And then the year after that, is he going to be the offensive coordinator for like Clemson? We don't know. We can only wonder. But I'm interested to see if Ohio State can beat Michigan at least.
Oh, and that feels like step 1. You're Bill O'Brien. You come in, and there's a lot of distractions right now. I don't know if Bill O'Brien has that rivalry with Lou Holtz, but he's getting thrown into it with Ryan Day. And so he comes in, he's got to beat Michigan. And that's his only job.
Yeah. Now, question, Patrick. Okay, so say Ohio State, like I'm going to give you 2 scenarios and you tell me which ones Ohio State fans would like better.
Okay.
Ohio State goes undefeated except loses to Michigan and doesn't make the college football playoffs. Or they go completely defeated, but only beat Michigan, and then they still don't make the college football playoffs.
I think it's going to be a tough one, Josh, because I think that's a really good scenario. I think they're being so dominated by Michigan right now that they just take the Michigan loss again. Because what's another year to add to the resume?
Right. Like, what's another loss at this point?
Yeah.
My
no big deal.
flip side to it is I think that you take the completely defeated season and beat Michigan just because now it's like you stop that momentum and you could build back. It's like a big, like, stop the bleeding. Do whatever it takes to stop the bleeding. And then once you stop the bleeding, you can start to get the bandages on and get the other stuff and really get things healthy again. So there's definitely 2 perspectives to it that we can see. And I'm not sure what Ohio State fans want, but I'll tell you what, now that I'm watching CJ Stroud and how good he is and wondering, how did they not win a national championship?
Well, it all starts with, maybe if they beat Michigan, they get a higher seed and they don't have to play Georgia. But that's not a conversation that I'm going to have. Right.
So we're rooting for you, Bill. And hopefully Ohio State can beat Michigan. Or I guess, but I don't know. Is Connor Stallions going to be the head coach next year?
It depends what Jim does.
Oh, Jimbo. Okay, we'll see. Andy Reid might retire. This is a big breaking news here. We're not sure what the Chiefs look like without Andy Reid.
We don't know.
You know, we thought that they were going to be all right this year, and talking about all right being like a number 1 seed contender, but they lost Eric Bieniemy, and so turns out might be a big piece of the puzzle. We don't know. And so now we're wondering, okay, you lose Eric Bieniemy, all-world offensive coordinator, and you lose Coach Reed. What are the Chiefs going to become in a year, Patrick?
I don't know. And where do you even go from here? I mean, do you bring in a guy with previous head coaching position, or do you elevate a guy with previous head coaching experience that's on your staff? I mean, there's a guy, if it wasn't for a little double doink situation, he's a playoff winner, and that's Matt Nagy.
Right.
I mean, you saw the work he did with Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Imagine what he can do as the leader of men on this team.
If you get Matt Nagy as your head coach, I think that most successful Bears coach in a while.
I think Lovie Smith would say something different.
Wait, did Matt Nagy not win a playoff game?
Never won a playoff game.
They went to the playoffs with Lovie Smith
and Jay Cutler. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Matt Nagy, because Matt Nagy was then the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So that's
John Fox in the middle.
They didn't give Nagy enough chance to really implement his system, though.
Probably not. They should have given him at least another year.
Right. And I think they're writing that wrong right now, and that's why there's a lot of like coaching, rumors coming out of the Bears, but they're going to continue 100%. To roll in the direction that they're going, because they need to right the wrong what they did in Matt Nagy. But I do believe that if Andy Reid retires, I wouldn't say the Chiefs were a dynasty, but if they were, it's dead.
Done.
So that's exciting for a lot of people out there. So congratulations to America, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think did we get that? We covered that. We covered that all. Josh and Pat updates. What do you got going on, Pat?
Yeah, Josh. I mean, it's nice. Wore the Ravens sweatshirt around Athens yesterday, and got some go Ravens.
Let's go.
And that's not something that you expect to hear, but you want to hear.
Right.
And,
it's like, whoa, really?
And so it feels like we got some positive momentum. Now you'll be at the game, Josh.
I'll be there, and I'll be doing my part. And I think that that's one of those things where it's going to be cold, but I'm prepared to sit through the cold, and I'll be rewarded, because if we win, and if I do my part and help that win, the AFC Championship game will be like a nice 55 and sunny. It's expected.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's like 55 chance of rain, 50% chance of rain.
Chance of rain, but it's like the 55 is going to feel like summer.
Right. And so, that's the thing. You just got to get there. I'm not nervous. I've been in there. I've been training. I got some reps in earlier in the season. I am
How's
prepared.
The voice, though? Is the voice
is feeling good. I've really been kind of fine-tuning everything. When I see Real Fan Dan, I'm ready right away. The reaction time.
He ripped the fans 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He ripped them.
Really?
Yeah, he said they weren't good enough in the Dolphins game.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that.
I was at the Dolphins game.
I know, Josh.
I think I did my part here. Okay, don't.
Well,
Real Fan Dan.
I argue that.
Real Fan Dan's trying to start locker room trouble right now, but I'm telling you, I did my part. I was there.
Is Real Fan Dan a real fan if he's trying to do that?
I was there. Okay, yeah, he's trying to break apart what we got going. And listen, I'm gonna be honest. We were in the driver's seat for most of that game, so I probably didn't bring my fourth quarter closeout voice that I really needed to. But I was saying I'm saving that for the playoffs. Because guess what? When a team comes, because there's a chance that at the time the Dolphins could be coming back to the bank, and I wanted to say it's big when you play a team. You don't want to show them your whole cards. You got to have a little disguise in there.
You're right, Josh.
So I'm excited. It's gonna be a good game. A little inside baseball here, Patrick. And do not overreact to this. I did go on a date yesterday.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, I know. Big surprise. I'm gonna keep
that's huge, Josh. Because you got to line up that firefighter.
Right. I'm gonna keep it brief. Batting way out of my league. She's very attractive. I'm not sure if there's a really long-term future, but we're going on the movies again. We go.
Oh, there's a follow-up.
And so
that's huge. You got to lead with that. You got to lead with, hey, there's going to be a second.
Right. There's going to be a second.
Right. And that's nothing, especially if you say you're batting up. Right. 100%. So you're going in there and you know that you're a bench player, but you're coming up there and game's not on the line, but it's the 7th inning, you're coming in to pinch hit. The manager trusts you enough. He's going to leave you in to face the pitcher a second time.
Right.
And so that's good.
And that's the thing. And so I think like I said, I don't know if there's a third date, fourth date, but the fact that
you can't get ahead. You're game by game.
Right.
Here,
But the first one went well enough to say, hey, let's go. Let's try this again. Let's get the movies going. And I think that, we'll see. But I just want to say that if nothing else happens, that I'm proud of the work that I put in. And who would have thought?
That's great.
And now I'm feeling though, but now, and this might be very bad for the ego. Like I'm very delusional on what like the caliber of person I can get in. Oh, Patrick's just walked away. Hey, Patrick's got a maintenance man there, I think. Maintenance man. He's coming back in. He's sitting down. I do not believe he can hear us at the moment. He's opening this door. He's going into the closet. I'm not sure. If you guys are watching this, you're probably not watching this. But he's in there, and Patrick's sitting back down. Is he going to continue the show? This is the big question. Is he putting the headphones back on? He has the headphones back on, guys. Patrick is allegedly back. And he's got some sort of maintenance situation there. But we'll say is this, to close the show, I am now completely, delusional on what the caliber of women that I can get is. Completely is going to throw off my perception. I'm going to be shooting way too far away from the basket from now on out. And then number 2 is just never stop believing, guys. Never stop believing. Go Ravens. Let's have ourselves a great weekend in the playoffs. Patrick, anything?
Maintenance issue. We're getting it fixed.
Okay.
And never stop believing.
Let's go. Have a nice day, guys. A peace.